Hey, welcome back to Scorpion Insights. I'm Jamie Adams. Today, really excited. I've got my buddy Brian Blades with me. Brian Blades has worked at Scorpion for 15, 16 years now? Has it been that long?
23.
Oops. Sorry, guys. I lose count sometimes. 23 years. Most of your time here has been, I know I've been here for 10. The entire 10 years I've been here, you've really specialized in working with criminal defense attorneys. Why criminal defense attorneys from your perspective? Like, what got you into being passionate about that?
Yeah, it's a personal passion. It starts where a lot of passions start, and it's personal experiences. And I got pulled over for a traffic ticket years ago, and it was a bogus traffic ticket. And
I thought you were going to go someplace way different than that. All right, good. All right, so
but it was
basic traffic ticket.
It was a basic traffic ticket,
right.
And I was like, this is bogus, this is crap, and I couldn't get behind his rationale for it. And I was like, I'm taking this to court. I'm doing this. I beat the ticket. And then a couple years later, I got another one for the same premise. It was another bogus ticket. And I beat him too. And
did you hire an attorney?
No, it was all me. It's all me.
Okay. The question was, why are you working in marketing with criminal defense attorneys?
I know.
Why did you almost become a criminal defense attorney yourself?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, got it.
But anyways, I saw it, just this very small window, this glimpse of time that I spent, in the courtrooms. I was fascinated by how criminal justice worked, and speaking with attorneys, and of course I got to know a lot of our first clients in this criminal defense space, and I got to know and understand their business and how things operate, and I just sort of went down the rabbit hole, and it was a really interesting, fascinating space to be in, and it's been a wild ride, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, what's crazy is, being here 23 years, I know for a fact that you've worked with literally thousands of criminal defense attorneys at this point, right?
Yeah.
And that spans from your really small solo practices to, the larger practices that are actually trying to kind of build a brand and a business. So I want to break down a couple of different scenarios from a marketing perspective. You're talking to a solo practice, maybe they're a 2-attorney practice, they've got a paralegal, maybe one office staff. How do you advise them on thinking about their marketing strategy? Let's start with that small firm, and then we'll talk a little bit about the larger firms in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I always start with goals and challenges.
Okay.
I kind of address those two major aspects.
So what are they trying to achieve? Like from a case perspective, from like a revenue perspective? Is
Absolutely.
That how you think about it? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I look at what exactly they're doing right now, what aspects are not helping them get to where they want to go, what their goals are in the year going forward. We got, wrapping up to 2023 here. I talk about what 2024 is supposed to look like, what their goals are. What their goals were this year that maybe they didn't achieve, and establish that kind of baseline, helps them understand kind of where they need to be going, and then from that point we can start looking at what opportunities are the best to help them achieve them. And so there's this, at that point, everything becomes a little more specific to their market, the types of cases they're interested in, who their ideal clients are, where they're getting cases right now, how much of their business is word of mouth or referral.
So let's talk about, let's use like a real example. So you're talking to a firm, 1 to 2 attorneys, in a decent sized market. Let's just take like Nashville, Tennessee, right? Like Nashville, not LA, but big city growing. Right? How do you take that firm that's probably got some limitations around budget, right? Because again, they're small. They're going to be competing with some pretty big players, right, in that market. How do you kind of help them navigate ways to kind of break in and make some strides relative to some of the bigger players that have bigger marketing budgets? Like, what are some things that they can do to maybe get a little bit ahead and get an advantage and start generating a little bit more case through like digital marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look at things through the lens of brand, personal brand, and then also just from that point, everything starts extending out into advertising opportunities, particularly when you're that small firm trying to break through. But brand is something you can always control. You've got the opportunity to be out there and promoting yourself and telling people who you are, what makes you different, and differentiating your personal practice among all the competitors out there. There's a lot of ways you can do that. So if you really do focus on personal brand first, I think you're going to find a great way to sort of get your foot in the door and differentiate yourself, no matter how much noise is in the marketplace, no matter how much competitors, how many competitors are you have, no matter how small you are. If you can get your personal brand right, you're going to have a real good opportunity to sort of shake things up. So I think that's step one right there. From a marketing and advertising perspective, a lot of this starts coming down to where the best opportunities are for you in specific circumstances. I look at things like niche areas in a marketplace. Like you bring up Nashville, for example. So just south of Nashville is Franklin.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Franklin's an affluent area. It's a great demographic for a lot of the criminal defense clients that I work with, and it's not downtown Nashville. Okay, it's not the super competitive space that Nashville is,
Yeah.
but that's a great space to be able to attract business where it's nowhere near as competitive. So that's
Yeah,
finding
great point.
finding the opportunity there.
Yep.
Other places might be, if it's not a geographic target, it could very well be a practice area based target. So I've got guys who are going to be focusing specifically on a specific type of case.
Like a DUI. for
Correct,
instance. Okay.
exactly.
Yep,
So if
yep.
you can kind of find a niche there
Yep.
that's not occupied, not seriously competitive, you can have a small budget, you can have not a very large presence,
yeah, got it.
and you'll find a way to get some.
That's a great point. So, like, would some of your advice typically be for those smaller firms that are in bigger markets and they're trying to kind of just they're trying to build some momentum towards growing, but they're a little bit budget strapped? Is a standard piece of advice from you? Hey, like, let's niche down in a specific practice area or two, and like let's really focus just there.
Yeah.
And let's get some momentum there, and let's generate some reputation in some cases there, and then we can reinvest and kind of broaden the scope of what we're going after. Is
Yeah,
that, okay.
it's the old big fish in a small pond
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of people might very well want to be, especially if you really do excel at those types of cases.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity for it. I've got markets around the country where domestic violence cases are really big. San Diego is a great market for it, for example. Other areas where sex crime cases are prevalent, and there's a lot of opportunity there. So finding your way in,
Yeah.
sort of get in where you fit in, sort of situation, is something that that we can examine. That's really what you need when you're working with a company that understands your space, is that they get all those different nuances
Yeah,
of your
that's right.
marketplace.
Yeah.
They're going to help you navigate those types of decisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I love about our company and our focus is you've been doing legal now for 23 years, criminal defense the majority of that time, right? So lots of reps, like we've done this before, like we've seen every scenario. There's nothing that a firm that's going to come to us that we actually haven't, dealt with in some capacity. So I think you're right on there. So we're going to talk about big firms. This has been a great insight. We're going to come back and talk about big firms, but just to kind of double back on some things, some advice that you give for the smaller firms that are looking to grow. Number one, focus on your personal brand. Right. So you can do that through, your website and making sure that your website's kind of telling your story and like really, really bringing out your value proposition and why you're the best potential attorney to represent someone based on their case. You can also do that through like social media and getting involved in the community. Right. All those things are kind of personal brand. Advertising strategy. Like if you're budget strapped, think about your geography. Like maybe just don't, if you're in a big market like Nashville, don't think you got to go double down and just spend all your money in downtown Nashville attracting cases. Think about the opportunities outside. And then also kind of niching down on specific case areas, right? Don't try to be like all things to all people. Like just niche down. Are those kind of the big points?
That's the big points.
Love it. So
Yep.
This is another great Scorpion Insight. We hope you enjoyed it. On our next Insight, we're going to talk with Brian about larger firms and the things that they can be doing and should be doing to expand and grow their practice. Until next time, have a great day.